Ladies and gentlemen, UFC Fight Night Magny versus Prates, also known as UFC Apex 100, is happening this Saturday. And this is your card. UFC Apex 100. This is your card. Absolutely incredible. I've never seen a better card in my entire life. First off, I want to start with some breaking news in the MMA world. Paddy Pimblett versus Renato Moicano is targeted for the UK card in March/April. This would be an awesome matchup with an awesome build-up. Both guys got a really fun personality, and Moicano's been calling out Paddy Pimblett for a while now, so the build-up and the beef and everything would be awesome. I think that would be a very fun fight. Also, Jeff Neal works at Texas Roadhouse. This isn't breaking news, but Jeff Neal works at Texas Roadhouse. I want to see Jeff Neal at Texas Roadhouse. I want him to deliver me a steak or the rolls. Jeff Neal works at Texas Roadhouse. Also, Charles do Bronx Oliveira is talking and reposting about the Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira 2 that is reportedly in jeopardy for undisclosed reasons. He's kind of posting this rub your chin emoji. Thinking face. There we go. I don't know if that means he is confused as this fight is still going to happen, or if he's looking for another opponent. I don't know what this means, but Dustin Poirier responded to this saying, I'm in. This would also be an awesome fight and would kind of have that not revenge, but comeback story since Dustin Poirier lost the first fight to Charles Oliveira. On to the fights. Let's start with the prelims. We got Melissa Mullins versus Claudia Segula. I couldn't find a lot of film on Claudia Segula. The only film I could find was a YouTube video where she just laid on top of her opponent for the entire fight and then choked her out. I did watch some fights from Melissa Mullins. She just seems a little more active and a little better all around. I mean, with the boxing and on the ground, she does more than just lays on an opponent and waits for the opportunity to submit him. So we're going with Melissa Mullins for the first fight. Next up, we got Trijan Gore versus Antonio Tricoli. Trijan Gore coming off that very, very good submission win with that guillotine. That was absolutely nasty. And Antonio Tricoli coming off of a loss against, who did he fight? He was a punching bag for, he was a punching bag for Sharabullet Nurmagomedov. That fight was hard to watch. Tricoli eventually just started standing there and wouldn't throw a punch and just kept eating Sharabullet's shots. And he eventually lost, of course. So I know Trijan Gore has had a tough few last fights, but I think he's really going to get the upper hand in this fight and take the win against punching bag Tricoli. Next up, we got Cody Stamond versus Damon Blackshear, bantamweight bout. Both these fighters are very good on the ground, but I think Blackshear is going to have the advantage in his size and his striking. So we're going to give Damon Blackshear the victory here. Okay, so next up, we got Matthew Smellyberger versus Charles Radke. Matthew Smellyberger has been having some tough past few fights, and he's taken a few losses, but he does have power, and he can touch people and knock them out. The problem is he usually doesn't execute when he knocks somebody down and just fumbles. But I think what's going to happen here is Charles Radke is going to try to close the distance, which he's not the greatest at, and he's going to get clipped by Matthew Smellyberger. What's going to happen, though, is Matthew is going to have to, take advantage of that and finish the fight. He's known for fumbling and not finishing the fight, so if he does that again, Charles Radke can win this, but I really think that Matthew Smellyberger is going to execute and take this win by TKO. See, he is a underdog, but that's what I'm putting on my bets. Matthew Smellyberger for the win by TKO or KO. On to the next, we got Lezu Zaleski dos Santos versus Zach Scrogan. I don't really know how this fight got made, and I don't know why the odds are the way that they are. Zach Scrogan, yes, he is 9-0, but he really hasn't fought any good opponents except for Zach Busia, who has a record of 19-15. And Dos Santos, on the other hand, has many notable wins, in my opinion. I mean, he has a win over Benoit Saint Denis. He's got a win over Sean Strickland. I mean, he's got a good resume. He's got a good record. Maybe not the best record, but he's got a good resume. And I know the record of Zach Scrogan is good right now, but like I said before, he just hasn't really fought anybody significant. And I don't really know how this fight got made. Maybe he took it on short notice or it got made on short notice? Somebody knows. Let me know in the comments. But we're going to give Dos Santos the win here by whatever he wants. I just don't think Zach Scrogan has the resume to back up a win for this fight. Next up, we got Gaston Bologna versus Cortavius Ramios. I don't know. Anyway, so both these guys have fought cans for their entire career until they made it to the UFC. Bologna has pretty sloppy striking, and I don't really think he's going to be able to stand and bang, and I don't think he's going to be able to do any work on the ground. He has been finished twice by submission, while Romeos has finished 5 people by submission. So I'm going to give Romeos the submission victory in whatever round he feels necessary. Next up, we got Carolina Kawalakas and Denise Gomez. Denise Gomez, it's a 39-year-old woman, Carolina, versus a 24-year-old woman, Denise Gomez. Denise Gomez is going to win this fight because look at the odds. And she knocked out Bruna Brazil. Denise Gomez, add it to the parlay. On to the next. Next up, we got Mansur Abdul Malik versus Dusko Todorovic. Mansur coming off a victory from the Dana White Contender Series. He's got a lot of power and he's nasty. Dusko Todorovic, on the other hand, not the greatest striking, not that powerful, and he keeps his chin high and his hands low. If he keeps his chin high and his hands low as he normally does, he's going to get demolished. He's going to get absolutely destroyed. If he can put his hands up, maybe he can, survive a couple rounds, but I honestly see Mansur Abdul Malik taking this by TKO or KO in whatever round he feels necessary. On to the next. We got Luana Pinheiro versus Gillian Robertson. Lava Girl. Lava Girl is going to win this one. That's all I got to say. It's literally Lava Girl. On to the next. Here we go. Gerald Mearshart, the UFC Apex King, versus Renier de Ridder. I didn't really know a lot about Renier de Ridder before this event popped up, and I did some research. He's a 2-division champ at ONE FC, and that is a very notable feat. But I don't think these odds are fair. I feel like people are sleeping on Gerald Mearshart, the UFC Apex King. We know the difference between ONE FC fighters and UFC fighters. UFC fighters are just better. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to stand by it. I would take de Ridder for the win, but the large underdog for Mearshart would make an interesting bet. It's hard to pick. I think I'm going to take Renier de Ridder to be safe, but plus 235 underdog for Gerald Mearshart. That's an interesting number, and I think people are sleeping on him too much. Gerald Mearshart could make a pretty big upset at this middleweight bout. On to the next. We got Ricky Turcios versus Bernardo Sopai. This is another interesting matchup. Bernardo Sopai, I believe, has a better showcase of mixed martial arts, while Ricky Turcios is meaner and just more vicious. Bernardo Sopai coming off his first UFC fight, which was a loss to that nasty knockout of the year flying knee. It was absolutely disgusting and very upsetting, I would imagine, for your UFC debut. And he's a young guy. I'm curious what that flying knee did to him mentally, because that happening in your UFC debut, that's got to take a toll on your confidence and your, can I say, bravery in your next fights. Ricky Turcios, on the other hand, has many fights in the UFC. He's comfortable under the lights. And the thing about Ricky is he's mean. He's going to get in Bernardo Sopai's face, and he's going to be throwing lots of strikes. If Bernardo can stay composed and show off that beautiful masterclass mixed martial arts skills that he does have, I think Bernardo Sopai could get the win. But at the same time, I could see Ricky coming out strong, throwing a lot of shots, and just gaining the respect and almost intimidating Bernardo Sopai, keeping Bernardo on the back feet. It's so hard to say who's going to win this fight. If we want to say it off skills, I'm going to say Bernardo Sopai takes this win. But Ricky Turcios, if he can get in his face and gain dominance in the fight and just keep him on his heels the whole fight and survive and not get clipped, I can see Ricky Turcios winning this fight by volume. Why couldn't it just be Cody Garbrandt? I'm PO'd about that, by the way. Cody Garbrandt, I'm calling Cody Garbrandt out right now. I'm going to fight you, Cody Garbrandt. No, I'm just kidding. I just had to get that out. I was very upset. I love you, Cody Garbrandt. You could beat me in any sort of physical altercation, but very sad. I wish that was the co-main event still. We're going with Bernardo Sopai for the win. On to the next. We got Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates. Whoa. The decision merchant against the fighting nerd. What a good matchup. I think this fight will be like, you remember when you'd play tennis in middle school and elementary school? Not tennis with the rackets, but when you'd put your hand up to your buddy's hand and you start slapping each side of the hand. You know what I'm talking about? And then the person who always won was the person who landed that first big shot. You know what I'm saying right now? And then your hand got all red, or your friend's hand got all red. Whoever lands that first big shot, you gain dominance. You look like the alpha. Alpha. I think Carlos Prates could get that upper hand early in the fight by landing a big shot on Neil Magny and dominating him. Is that a crazy claim? Carlos Prates, he's got great striking, great distance management, and a lot of power. Neil Magny is a great MMA fighter. What's going to happen? I think Carlos Prates is going to come out strong, but smart, not crazy, and he's going to land that big shot that gains Neil Magny's respect and puts him on his heels for the rest of the fight. You do not want to be on your heels against Carlos Prates, because if you're on your heels against Carlos Prates, you're going to be the leech. You're going to be the leech, and you're going to get murked. So we're going to take Carlos Prates for the win here. I could see it going to decision, but I could also see Carlos Prates knocking out Neil Magny. And yeah, UFC Apex 100. Wow. What a historic night of unbelievably incredible fights. Cody Garbrandt, I miss you. See you later.